Everyone knows the story. Heart disease is the modern curse. The bacon, the desk job, the cigarette, the third hour on the couch. We did this to ourselves. Too much food, too little movement, a world our bodies were never built for. A caveman never had a heart attack. A pharaoh never needed a stent. The clogged artery is the price of the modern world. Everyone knows that story. Now watch a cardiologist break it. In a hospital in Cairo, a 3,500-year-old woman is sliding headfirst into a CT scanner, the same machine they'd use on you. Her name was Amose Mariette Amon, a princess of Thebes, dead since before the Trojan War, before the first letter of the first alphabet. Her heart is still inside her chest. The Egyptians left it there on purpose, certain she'd need it on the other side. And the scanner reads her without unwrapping a single bandage. The scan lights up, and the cardiologist goes quiet. Because the thing glowing on his screen, bright white, where it should be black, is something he sees every single week. Calcium, hardened plaque packed into two of the three great arteries that feed the heart. In a living patient, that image means one thing: surgery. Soon, she would have needed bypass surgery, one of the researchers said, about a woman who died 35 centuries ago. And here's the part that doesn't fit. She never saw a cigarette. There were no cigarettes. She ate vegetables, fruit, a little lean meat, bread, beer. She walked everywhere because there was no other way to get anywhere. By every rule of the story we all believe, her arteries should have been clean. They weren't. So either the princess is a freak accident, or the story everybody knows is wrong. She wasn't an accident. A cardiologist named Randall Thompson wanted to know how far this went. So he and an international team did something nobody had done systematically before. They went hunting for heart disease in the dead. Not one mummy. Hundreds. From all over the ancient world. They called it the Horus Study. And they fed mummy after mummy through the CT scanner, looking for that same telltale white glow of calcium in the arteries. What they found broke the story for good. It was everywhere. In the latest count, 237 mummies. 7 different cultures, spread across more than 4,000 years. Over a third of them had it. Hardened, calcified arteries. The unmistakable signature of atherosclerosis. The disease that sits underneath nearly every heart attack. Now, you could try to rescue the old story. The Egyptians, you might say, were the rich kids of the ancient world. Maybe the elite got soft, fattened cattle, honey cakes, servants to do the walking. Maybe pharaohs just invented the lifestyle disease early. The horse team thought of that too. So they didn't only scan Egyptian royalty. They scanned the Unangan hunter-gatherers from the freezing Aleutian Islands. People who chased and speared and fished for every single calorie they ever ate. No farming, no luxury, no idleness. The closest thing on earth to the clean living ideal that the whole modern disease story depends on. And their arteries were hardening too. Ancestral Puebloans in the American Southwest, ancient Peruvians. Every population, every era, men and women, the wealthy buried in gold, and the ordinary dried out in the dirt. The researchers said it flat out. They could not find a single ancient culture that was free of it. That answers the first question. The princess wasn't a glitch. Heart disease is not a modern invention. It's not a rich man's disease. And it's not caused by the couch or the cigarette alone, because it was already thriving in people who had none of those things, thousands of years before we were born. Click. But solving that just opens something worse, because if even hunter-gatherers had it, people who lived exactly the way we're forever told we're supposed to live, then blame the lifestyle can't be the real answer. And that leaves a much darker possibility. Maybe the disease was never about how we live at all. Maybe it's about what we are. Maybe a clogged artery isn't a mistake we make. Maybe it's just built in. Standard equipment, the factory setting of the human body. Waiting in every one of us, no matter how we live, no matter what century we're born into. Is heart disease simply the price of being human? To answer that, you'd need the perfect test subject. Someone who lived the cleanest life imaginable, and whose body you can still examine in forensic detail today. He's been waiting in a freezer in Italy for 30 years. In 1991, 2 hikers in the Alps found a body in the ice. They thought it was a lost climber. It was a man who had died 5,300 years ago. We call him Ötzi, and Ötzi is the gene control group for this exact question. He was lean. He was muscular. We know from his bones and his gear that he walked mountains constantly, across brutal terrain. He ate wild meat and wild plants. There was no processed anything, no tobacco anywhere on Earth, no sugar as we know it. So if clean living protects the human heart, Otzi's arteries should be spotless. They scanned him. 3 patches of hardened plaque right around his heart, more in his neck, more in the great artery running down through his body. A 5,300-year-old man, living the purest version of the life we're all told to envy, with the arteries of a modern cardiac patient. So the team went deeper than the arteries. They sequenced his entire genome, and there, written into his DNA, they found it. A stretch of code on chromosome 9, a variant called 9.21. That is, right now, one of the strongest genetic predictors of heart attack we have ever identified. Otzi carried the worst version of it. It roughly doubled his risk, and it isn't exotic. It's one of the most common heart risk genes on the planet. Plenty of people watching this carry it too. There it is. The answer to the second question, and it looks airtight. It's in the genes. It's ancient. It's coded into the body itself. The plaque was building in Otzi's arteries, not because of how he lived, but because of what he was. A human carrying human DNA, with the same buried instructions the rest of us carry. An arrow killed him at 46, before his heart could. If it hadn't, the plaque might have. Heart disease is human. Genetic, inevitable, case closed. Except, if that were the whole truth, if a clogged artery were simply the human default, written in genes we all share, then it should be impossible to escape. Every population of humans, anywhere on Earth, should clog with age. No exceptions. That is what built-in means. So everything now rests on one question. Somewhere on this planet, is there even a single group of people whose hearts refuse to follow the rule? Because if there is, then it was never destiny. And the reason that matters to you is about to become very clear. There is one. The same cardiologist, Randall Thompson, the man who found hardened arteries in mummy after mummy, went looking for the opposite. And he found it deep in the Bolivian Amazon, among a people called the Tsimane. The Tsimane are forager horticulturalists. They hunt, they fish, they farm small plots by hand. They're physically active almost every waking hour, the way humans were for nearly all of our history. They eat unprocessed food, mostly plants, some wild game, some fish. And in 2017, a team published their hearts in the journal The Lancet. It is the healthiest set of arteries ever recorded in human beings. They put more than 700 Tsimane adults through CT scanners, people aged 40 all the way to 94. And 85% had zero detectable calcium in their coronary arteries. Zero. An 80-year-old Tsimane typically had the arteries of an American in his mid-50s. Their rate of coronary disease was 5 times lower than in the United States. Most of these people lived their whole lives and never developed the disease at all, something the modern world had quietly assumed was simply impossible. And here is the detail that detonates the "it's destiny" answer. The Tsimane are human. They grow old. Many carry the ordinary human heart risk genes, the same buried code Otzi had. And their arteries stay clean anyway. So now we can finally answer the question this whole video is named after. Did ancient people get heart attacks? Yes. Almost certainly yes. The disease that causes them is at least 5,300 years old. It was in the princess advanced enough that the researchers said she could have suffered chest pain had she lived longer. It was in Otzi. The heart attack the arrow simply beat to it. And the ancient Egyptians may have even watched it happen. In the Ebers Papyrus, written around 1550 BC, there's a passage many historians of medicine read as a description of the attack itself. A man with pain in his arm, his chest, one side of his heart, and beside it, but, and this is the whole thing, it was never inevitable. The Tsimane prove a human body can run for 90 years and barely clog at all. The gene only loads the dice. Something else decides how they land, and that something else is the camera turning around to face you, because the real difference between the princess and the Tsimane isn't the century they were born in. It isn't even mostly their genes. It's a lifetime of tiny, invisible inputs, what the body marinated in every single day for decades. Cholesterol kept low not for a week, but for 90 years. Blood pressure low for a lifetime. Blood sugar low. A body in motion from sunrise to sunrise, not for a New Year's resolution, but for an entire existence. The princess was an elite. She didn't have to move much, and a body at rest in a world without medicine had other enemies too, like the constant low fire of untreated infection that the Horus team suspects helped harden ancient arteries from the inside. The Seminae carry that same infection load and still stay clean, which tells you the thing doing the protecting is, overwhelmingly, that relentless, low and slow, lifelong metabolic life. Now think about where your body actually lives. The disease is silent. That's the part nobody feels in time. Atherosclerosis doesn't hurt. It sends no warning. The princess felt fine. Utsi felt fine. The plaque is the most patient thing inside the human body. It builds in the dark, across 10,000 ordinary days. Off a cholesterol number you've maybe never checked. A blood pressure you ignore because it doesn't sting. 1,000 small stillnesses that don't feel like anything at all. It was building in the princess at 35 centuries distance. It is building in someone watching this right now. The question was never really, did ancient people get heart attacks? That was just the door. The question underneath it, the one that was about you the whole time, is this. The exact same slow, silent process that hardened a princess's arteries before the Trojan War is running inside your chest today. And almost the only thing that decides where it ends is what you feed it. Across all the quiet years you assume you can ignore. So go back to the table. The princess, head first in the scanner. The calcium glowing white where it should be black. For 100 years we thought that image was a window. A strange glimpse back at how the ancients died. It isn't a window, it's a mirror. The plaque is old. The genes are old. The silence is old. And the body on the screen is still being written. Yours, today.